Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Bianchleo. I'm just going to be going over what happened during the last recording because for whatever reason, the audio didn't work out too well, or at all, really. Wanted to show off the screen here because we didn't know that the screen changes with each section. And so what we decided to do this time around was to go back to Fulgrim, because there's some things that we didn't manage to do while we were there. We were too cowardly to figure it out. In essence, especially when it comes to this particular character here, there was something that we didn't feel like picking up at the time. Turns out it's actually pretty important.
That's better. Thank you. It's been so long since anyone raised a hand toward me in kindness. You seem different, untouched by false truths. Unfortunately, I have little to offer you, save for that tarnished seal in your hands. A small gift, but I expect you will find it useful. Would you grant me another favor? Deep within the temples of the devout, you'll find the sacred glands of the revered. Bring the glands back to me, so I can extract the true nectar, just enough to heal me. Perhaps you too can use it to free yourself from this wretched land, before you end up like me.
And that favor that he's asking of us is the closest thing that I can find to like a concise story. And that seal that we got is actually how we end up parrying later on. I mean, right now, at this point. Which would have been useful past this. It also glows red whenever you can't use it. And whenever you use it, turns out you can attack pretty much right away, and it'll activate a riposte which actually heals you, which again could have been useful. And I also learned that if you go into a certain section of the inventory system, you can actually look at the stats of the shells. Didn't know that. No wonder I like Airdrim so much. Look at that durability. Honestly. You can also look at their abilities and shades, and in comparison between Haros, he's just straight up even across the board, so he's a pretty viable option, but I was getting my shit rocked too much. And as I said before, you can already look at the abilities that each one has. And I noticed while going through this that I have more glimpses than what it's actually showing me having for Haros, making me realize that apparently glimpses are just for individual shells. So it's probably better to figure out which shell you want before trying to upgrade it. That way you can save yourself on the glimpses and get all the upgrades for whatever shell you want to use. I did not do that. I also had no idea what a shade is. Spoiler, we do get that figured out later on today. Since I had no idea what a shade was, I thought I'd go over to Airdrim and actually take a look to see if he had any. Turns out didn't have any, and this is where I really started to think about the whole glimpse situation. I think I'm making a pretty good decision when it comes to sticking with Aerodrome, though. And there's all these items that you can read about, but I tried looking up information on how to gain more resolve. No idea how to do that, but it's very useful when it comes to trying to parry, because in order to get that healing riposte, you have to have enough resolve to do that. And I was also just taking a look at the sheer amount of story that I still have yet to go through. I decided to try out the new parry mechanic against these two, and as you can see, it's not working out too well. I kind of got my shit rocked. Too many times that happened, so I got rid of one of them and decided to focus the parrying against just the one. That way I could really figure out the timing for it. And so close trying to get that healing. Didn't happen the first time around. And just beautifully accurate right there. After being healed by the sister, I had to move on. And I was going to get this tar spore because this stuff's really useful for what I was trying to get it to be for. I thought it had something to do with unlocking these chests. Turns out I was wrong. But first, I went ahead and started reading some of this inscription, only to be interrupted. I called him rude, took care of the problem, took his entire health, and continued reading. Once I was done reading, I thought, okay, time to go ahead and get this mini-boss. I thought it was going to end up being a mini-boss done with so I can get those chests open. I thought that this guy, right over here, was going to give me a key if I defeated him. So, to gain that immunity for the poison that he would spit, I hit the tar spore, and I went on after him. But here's the thing. I don't think I did too much damage. And also, turns out I could just speak with him. I could feed him. So I gave him as much rotten food as I had. And his name's Gorf, by the way. If it's named, I don't want to kill it, you know? Seems like a nice enough dude. You'll see in a little bit. He says that I'm boring him, and he's not offended by it, but he'll try to make a way to make it more entertaining next time around. He's so polite. I hate the fact that I was trying to attack him, and I apologized. So I thought maybe there might be another dialogue option. Turns out there's not. And then he starts talking about the music of the night and how we both appreciate it. So I figured, he's a music lover, I'm going to play the lute for him. Little did I know, it would trigger a cutscene. He just like spews poison at me or something, and I get a new skin. And it looks so good. Normally I'm not too much of like a black and yellow sort of a person, but this outfit is pretty cool. It's called the Yellow King, as you saw above. And it turns out that the Yellow King, it doesn't have any sort of special abilities put into it. The durability is the same, like everything's the same, but it's a shade. That's what the shades are. They're pretty much skins. And I like the fact that I actually found one by accident. Because apparently, these things happen sometimes. I don't think that I'm that good of a gamer. So finding a in-game skin that easily, it's really cool to me. So, after we got done talking to Gorf, I just decided to explore around Fallgrim for a little bit because I was wrong about what was going on. And I found this tunnel. Didn't know what was going on under there, and I did recover from a pretty big fight in between talking to Gorf and here. I was not doing so well, so I decided to go in and see what was going on here. I haven't explored too many tunnels, or their whereabouts. And it came to this altar, which kind of freaked me out for a little bit, which I'm pretty sure it's supposed to. But then you go into it, you actually activate it, and he gives you this warning that you're pretty much going to end up forsaking your shells. So I said hell no to that. It may be something for like an achievement later on down the line or something. I don't know. But no, I'm too attached to the aerodrome for that. On a side note, I ended up finding this baguette. And the only reason why that's important is because I ended up eating it after another fight. And it reminds someone of better times. And then I came across this guy.
Oh, I'm starving. Really could use a bite to eat. It ain't easy sitting here all day, you know.
He's just referred to as Baghead, but I could have given him the baguette, so I decided to look around for another baguette, but to no avail. So, in that case, I figured it was probably about time to do what I was meaning to do a couple episodes ago and go back for the hammer, but it didn't work out too well that first time. However, I did end up going into the Nexus. Okay.
Seek this and you'll see.
Made sure I was healed up and everything. And with that, I was ready. I was going to go ahead and recite the poem? Booketry? Something like that. In order to retrieve the new weapon. And something I didn't notice with the other time that we got the new weapon. You'll see here in a second. Tear out the page. First off, don't do that. I don't like that. But spider. Did that happen the first time and I just didn't notice? Kind of freaky. But as with last time, this led to a fight with Hattern. Or Hattern, maybe. Something like that. Using the weapon we're trying to get. Now, this fight was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to end up being because of the fact that it's them. You know what I mean? I didn't think it would be as easy as it has been. I mean, just watch. It'll let you parry him, but it doesn't let you riposte for a little bit. The parry, you can go ahead and do without enough resolve, apparently. But the riposte, on the other hand, that's a different story. But it comes in clutch. That takes a nice chunk off. One of my favorite things to do is that jump. Just stop in midair. And something that I'm just now noticing in post, the background there seems to be a humongous version of the fish that ends up carrying you out of the area, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I got a little bit overzealous near the end of the fight here. You see how much health he has and how much I have. And I was just decided to go like hard at him, you know? Not the best of strategies, it seems. Luckily, I still had my last chance situation going on, but I didn't even need it. I was hoping to make that so much cooler than it turned out, but hey, a win is a win. I don't even know why that, like, fish comes to get us. Like, I get that we have to have some sort of way to come back, but I don't know if it's a different dimension, maybe, or, like, what's going on when it comes to it. Without really thinking about it too much, the hammer and chisel is what you end up getting, and it seems so quick. Maybe not the quickest in the game, but definitely quicker than the sword that I had. Even the jumping heavy attack was quicker. So, quick weapons, tanky body, I think it's going to work out pretty well. So I'm actually going to be sticking with this for a little while when it comes to the build. But yeah, that's all there really is to it. And with that being said, I gotta get out of here. If you have any suggestions, things that are just on your mind whenever it comes to this episode, like if you happen to like the way that this episode is being made better, then hit the like button. Like, I would love for people to start clarifying things in the comments as to what they like and don't like about an episode. But anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. You keep making your progresses. Goodbye.